Okay. Really today, Fish had a tight back, so he didn't practice. Remmers likewise had a tight back. He didn't practice. And then Damian Wilson with a knee contusion, he didn't practice. So we look forward to the challenge of playing the Saints, and we know they're a good football team, well coached, and they've got a great tradition there. So our guys had their first step of getting ready to play them today. So we'll keep on with the week and the process. Time's yours.
Let's go first to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Andy. Unless my calculations are wrong, both Byron Pringle and Mitch Schwartz are eligible to come off IR this week. Are either of those guys practicing yet? And Brad, I'll have a second question also.
Pringle, yeah, he practiced today. Schwartz.
Pringle. Okay. And also, a lot of great receiving tight ends over the years. None has ever led the league in receiving yards, although Travis is now. Why has a tight end never led the league in receiving, do you feel like?
I don't know that exactly. Normally they're doing the shorter intermediate routes as opposed to the longer routes, like receivers do. And, there've been a few that kind of fall into that category that can do both. And Travis is one of those guys.
Let's go next to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, Coach, I know you're focused on the offensive side of the football this week, but I was curious for your thoughts, being really considered a quarterback guy in this league, about Taysom Hill and some of the things he can do on the other side there.
Well, he's a BYU guy. I think that's probably all we need to say. I mean, he's a good player, strong, a good runner, good thrower. He represents well, but unfortunately, he's on the other team, so we got to get ourselves ready to play against him. Yep.
Let's go next to Herbie Tiopi. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Coach, two questions here for you. The first one, there's obviously going to be a lot of creativity on the field when you and Peyton match up. How do you challenge yourself every year to stay creative, and where do you find your inspiration from?
Well, I've got good coaches that love the challenge of finding new things and experiment with them. And I've got players that thrive on that stuff. I mean, they want you to find something that's out of the ordinary and make it the ordinary. So and practice it. So I appreciate all of that. But I mentioned Joe Blameyer in the past. I joke about the Joe files, but he's got a file of things that take you anywhere and everywhere that football's played.
And to follow up on Pete Sweeney's question on Taysom Hill, obviously there's a BYU connection there, so you probably saw a lot of him just keeping in touch with your alma mater. How much were you aware that he could block punts and play defense and return kicks when you saw him coming out of college?
Yeah, Chad Lewis, who played for me, is one of the assistant athletic directors up there, told me, the kid's been banged up, but don't let that fool you, because he's like one of the best athletes ever come out of this school. So, and he can do anything and is willing to do anything. So I knew that when he was coming out, yeah.
Let's go next to Steve Weish. Go ahead, Steve.
Hey, Andy, good seeing you. I know you're going to get BYU love for your guys all the time, as you do. Just your thoughts. It seemed early in the season a lot of teams were defending you guys to try to limit the explosive plays, and now you guys are really kind of on a roll of hitting those explosives. What has changed?
Yeah, well, I think some of our short intermediate games help that, and you got to be able to defend both, and then we got Sammy obviously back, and we've got kind of the full gamut of guys that we play with, and we've got some explosive players there. So I think that's helped. Very similar to the University of Missouri back in the day.
Let's go next to Sam Mellinger. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Andy. It seems like anytime one of us asks you about something that didn't go right during a game, it's always, that starts with me. We got to get that fixed. That starts with me. I know you genuinely feel that responsibility, but I'm also curious if this is sort of a way to, make sure that there's no blame game within your staff, within the organization. Just kind of take it on yourself.
Yeah, well, I think we all need to do that. I mean, that's part of it. And it's something that most people don't do. I think you better look in the mirror before you criticize others. And so it starts with me, and I've got to make sure I do that, sincerely do that, not just say it. So, and I've tried to always be that way, and I expect, the guys to do the same. I mean, the best that they possibly can, and start with yourself and be honest with it, and let's not worry about everybody else and take care of ourselves that way.
Looks like we've got 3 left. We'll go right down the line, starting with Eb. Go ahead, Eb. Try again, Eb. There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, Coach. Thanks for taking my question. You've obviously coached since the golden age of since scrambling quarterbacks and dual threats kind of came in with McNabb and Vic. What have you done? Have you done anything different with Patrick Mahomes to facilitate his development into what he's become? And did you learn any lessons from working with McNabb and Vic that you were able to apply here?
Well, one of the fun things is I've been able to keep those guys involved, and they've had a chance to talk with Pat and visit with them. And if you think back on when we first started off, Vic came up, Donovan's talked to and been here a couple different times. So, Brett Favre, I mean, all those guys, Kevin Cobb came and visited. So they've all had a chance to talk to him. And I think that's important. I mean, I just, to get it from your peers, guys that have already been there and done it, I think is important. For them to hear from those guys. I can't sit there and give them the same information that they're going to give them. They were out there doing it, and they did it at such a high level and of greatness. And there are very few of those guys around, and I've been lucky enough to be around the field.
Last 2, we'll go Darren and Seren. Go ahead, Darren.
Hey, Coach. Good afternoon. 2 quick questions. One, following up on what Sam had asked you about taking the blame. Do you feel, even though that the team is 12-1, that in areas that the team doesn't play well, that no one is above reproach of being critical of the style of play that the players may play in a particular game? I guess as it relates to media criticizing some of the players and the play calling. And then second, the second part is with Le'Veon Bell. How has he progressed since he's been with the Chiefs, and can we see more of Le'Veon in this upcoming game against the New Orleans Saints?
Yeah, I love that kid. It's a weird situation because he is a heck of a football player, man. And he's just playing running back's a little different deal because you got a lot of responsibility, and he's highly intelligent, but you have to actually get in there and get to know your offensive linemen, get to know the run schemes because they're a little bit different than maybe what he's been doing. I thought last week, boy, he had a couple very sweet runs, and just how things worked out, it didn't work out where he had as many carries. But that's not because we're disappointed in him at all. I mean, he's been tremendous. I wish we would have had him earlier, but I'm glad we have him now. I'll tell you, he's top notch, and big fan of his. Yeah.
We'll go last to Seren Petro. Go ahead, Seren.
And Brad, I have a quick follow-up for this. First of all, Coach, just to expand on what you said about Le'Veon Bell, you have so many weapons, right? Brett Beach and your staff have done such a great job of giving you all those weapons. And you mentioned, I mean, there's only so many snaps to the ball. Do you find yourself kind of frustrated sometimes at the end of a game that you couldn't get Le'Veon more touches, couldn't get a few more balls towards Sammy or whatever it is, that you've kind of got this embarrassment of riches right now?
Well, I mean, I don't know if you want because these guys love to play, you want to get them the ball. I mean, that's what you want to do, and the best you can. I've always said there's one ball, and try to spread it around the best we can. And but we're blessed to have them, and you're going to need all of these guys somewhere. I mean, they're all going to have their time in the spotlight, and it's just how it works. It's a crazy thing on how it goes, but that's how it works. And so just the fact that they keep pushing and they stay selfless that way, I think is important. And that's that becomes important in a situation like this as a team.
And then Travis Kelce's knocking down all kinds of records, right? Just to kind of follow up on that, there are others that are out there. I mean, what's your policy? You know, he's in reach of the catch record for tight ends. He's on pace to blow through the yardage record for tight ends. Are those things, do you have somebody on the headset kind of reminding you, hey, he's one away from here if the game gets to a point where you can do that? Or is that?
You know, I haven't, but I know coming out of this game, it seemed like there were a couple different things that were going on, and I really wasn't aware of it. I'm kind of naive to those things, but I at least, and he doesn't ever say anything. So it's, you know, I think he just wants to play and keep playing and do good and all that stuff. So, but I'm not, listen, I don't even know how to answer that, Seren, because I don't know the numbers right now and how far away is. If he needs one throw up, you know, he's probably going to get that. So that's a plus.